Hello, everyone. I'm the okayest bassist, and this is the BASSics Volume 72. This is the almost weekly podcast live stream that I. That was weird. This is the almost weekly podcast lesson set that I do almost every week, where it's lessons, it's ideas, it's communications, it's things like that. Um, the general idea is teaching lessons on things I wish I had known when I got started. Sometimes the lessons are here's how a technique works. Sometimes the lessons are more life lessons like don't spend money you don't have to get things you don't need. Um, that's it was a lesson. It took me a lot to learn, and I'm still not the best at it. But there are lessons that we do today. I have an older friend from church who used to record, used to play in bands, all those good things. He has now gotten on in years and doesn't play or do much with anything that he has, hardly at all. So he has decided to kind of clear out his collection. And while helping look for some information on the instruments before I would take them to the local shop that I use to, help sell my stuff, I figured I would look up some stuff so that he had an idea of how much, he should expect to receive. And I thought about it and I thought, well, you know what? That could make a good lesson for tonight. So, tonight, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you my personal way, pretty standard, of how to figure out the value of the equipment, instruments, what have you, that you have. So if you're going to sell them online, you can make sure to be the most informative of what you're selling because there's a lot that can suck on online sales. Like if you sell something on Reverb and you put, hey, I've got this bass, here's what model it is, it's in this condition, I've played it this often, it has these strings that were replaced at this time, message if you have any questions, thanks. And then the person buys it, and then they turn around and have something of a problem, or they have a complaint, or worst case scenario, they find something that maybe you didn't know about. Like if you sell a bass and you don't realize that it's got buckle rash on the back, and then they get it and they send some photos. One, you could get poor feedback from that sale on an online platform, which, if you're good at math, you have 4 5-star ratings and 1 1-star rating. Congratulations, your entire rating is now a 4, depending on, I mean, that's how math would work. You would have, anyway, that'd be a total of 17 out. It'd be 21 out of 25. So just over 4 stars. Um, but you're still not going to show a 5-star rating. Some people actually check those, some people take those heavily into account. And if you're a smaller seller, like you buy and sell occasionally, 2 of those 5 stars, it's going to take you at least 5 5-star ratings to offset a single if you're fine with being at 4. Now, if it's a website that rounds, then you're going to have to get to 4.5. So you're going to have at least 9 5-star ratings. It's a thing. So if you provide all the information, for example, when I sold my close, it was originally sold to me with a B stock neck that had some discoloration. It wasn't damage. Basically, the way that the carbon fiber was done, there was a part that looked blemished. Um, it was really hard to photograph, so I took multiple photo angles of the same spot and put it in the description. It's listed as has damage. That way, if the person says, "Oh, hey, the neck's damaged," yeah, it was in the photos. Um, when you are doing that, you want to provide as much information as possible. So, again, I'm going to go through what I typically do if I'm going to list something online. And we are going to go through the whole process to see an approximate guess of what the sale price should be for that item. So I am going to tilt the camera down slightly so you can see me a little bit. So this is one of the bases he has. I am going to, let's see here. Can I? There's that. How do I add this camera? Camera. Have to add it over here. Okay, well, this shows my expertise. Back camera on. There we go. So we're going to come over, get a closer look at this guy. So, oh, okay. That's a weird way of doing angles, but okay. It's on a 90 degree. Is it also reversed? It's reversed. Why is it reversed? I don't like that. Stop it. Stop it. Mirror. How do I mirror camera? That's the camera I want. Yes. Mirror. Why? Why is there not? Is it up here? It's probably up here, isn't it? Mirror. Undo. There we go. Anyway. Yeah, that's better. So it is a P-base. If we come on over to this side, can I turn on? Can't turn on the light. So we can see here, it is a Squire precision base. If we pick that up, you can see, hopefully, standard series, precision base, Squire. We turn it around to the back, the information we really need, crafted in Indonesia, and a serial number of I, C0010194995. So we'll set that back in case because I already went online, looked it up, printed it out, crafted in Indonesia. Yep, 2000 to 2010. It is, we'll see in the Squire catalog, production number, factory was in the Court factory. So it was made in the Cortec factory. It is a Squire. I'm going to go ahead and turn this camera off now. Camera is off. There we go. Hey, look, it's me. Now let's share this screen. Share and screen. Share entire screen. Infinite loop. We're gonna do this guy. This guy. Nope. And then we switch it. Yeah, there we go. So we are going to have to open a new page. We are going to go to Reverb. So we're going to type in. Now, some people would type in immediately what they want to search. I prefer to filter everything down. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. I like to give it the best chance through the filters. So, brand, Squire, we have that. It's already set for a 4-string bass. We want our stuff used. Condition, I'm fine with. I think they all come up under used. I think if you have, I don't know, 1, 12, 54, basically 200. So they don't all come up. So we're going to mark it with mint. Excellent. Very good. Good. It's definitely in one of those condition categories. So we have Squire, bass. So we want to see all the filters. We want to try and find, well, we know it's right hand play, but there's only 4 that's going to come out. It is a P style. P. There we go. Color family. Well, that's not going to help a whole lot. That doesn't help. Series. We know it's a standard. So just going to what we know about it, if someone is putting this much detail, they are listing the series, then it's somebody whose prices you can probably trust. That's always been my thought. We know it's a 2000 to 2010. Does that? Okay, so that completely removes everything. So they maybe didn't go all that detail. Uh, Year search. There was one that said decade. 90s and 80s are all we're seeing there. So let's just look at this. Maybe we get rid of the series part. We are going to sort low to high. So we can see a red, a white. So this one's a PJ. So the closest thing is that one because it is a PJ. So we're looking $400. That is basically the same base. So we've got $400 is about what we're looking there. Now this one looks like it does have either a pretty distinct need, can't zoom in, to have the fretboard cleaned, or it's got a lot of wear. Um, Considering we don't know Squire Standard Precision Base Special 1999 to 2010. Um, we don't know a whole lot more than that. So again, if we go to low to high, the other thing you're going to want to do is go into the filters. You're going to want to go to the specialty filters. And you're going to want to show only sold listings. That's the second part of valuation. You want to see what things have sold for. Now, we're seeing this is the mini. That's not helpful. Again, we need to sort it down with filters. So Squire Precision Base, we've got that series. We have classic vibes. This is a standard. So there are 6 standard series that have sold. So we have a PJ that sold for 145. That's a 5 string, not a 4. So that's something. For a similar finish, I'm not really seeing the exact same thing. But it looks like price range can be anywhere from the 150 up to around that 400 range. We're seeing some that sold. So this is made in Japan. That's not going to be the same. Precision base, that's a lefty, so that's different. 32-inch scale, made in Japan. That's a British Racing Green, so it's a different finish. So if we go back to what we had before, let's see if that gets us anything different when we show only sold listings. So now we have 14 and they look to be the same results. I always like to look at how long ago the super cheap ones were listed because Reverb seems to keep things forever, but this is 10 months ago. Um, Somebody got a good deal. $145. That's not bad. Um, Less than 200. And then you have to keep in mind when you're selling on Reverb, you have a fee. I think it's 5% that Reverb get. The purchaser is going to pay the taxes. And then you yourself, if you don't boost it, you pay 5%. There's stuff in there. If you use the Reverb wallet, then you don't pay the seller fee because the money just stays with Reverb. They'll just get it from you in the thing you buy. So on that one, looks like listed around 400. Expectation is to sell it probably in the 300 range. I mean, 240, 300, 300, 305, 325, 350, 325. That one had free shipping. So, 300 range is probably about where that one's going to land. Now we'll look at the other base. So we are going to hide this. There we go. So now I have this guy. This is a 5-string jazz bass. You can see it is an active bass, all the knobs. And then when we come up to the headstock, Fender, jazz bass, and I don't know if we can get in close enough, but that is the deluxe series. When we look on the back, again, serial number. And just like the other, I've already gone online and gotten the information from Fender, breaking it down. Serial number, model number. It is a deluxe series active J bass 5-string. Came originally with a gig bag. Build date of June 2001. But of course, he has the really pretty case. So there is that, which will add a little bit of value. So we can put that away, lock it up. Might as well lock up the other one since it's already there. And put those away. Because as I teach my children, which my son listens, and the 2 older ones know everything and I know nothing, we put our stuff away when we're done with it. Let's go ahead and bring back in the screen. So here we are, and we can back into the filters. We know that it's Squire. Go into the filters. What is it? We know it's going to be used. Excellent. And very good. And mint. Then pickup option. Well, we're not worried about that. I thought it meant pickups as in, the thing that picks up the audio. It's a bass. And it'll filter through that. It is a 5-string. That narrows it down to 38 active listings. It is a jazz style. That should do it, but if we go down, we look at decade, it is neither of those unless 20, no, it's neither of those. So again, sort, we want to see what the worst case scenario is. Worst case scenario looks to be an affinity. So this one is a deluxe. I didn't look at the filters for that. Series. There's nothing here for deluxe series. So have to take the rest of these on a slight comparison. So none of these, we have affinity. We know it's not an affinity. All of these are affinities. 5-string jazz bass, store display, vintage modified. So what if we do the search? Oh, I'm dumb. It's not, if anyone is watching, they're yelling at me or laughing at me, going, this guy's dumb. That's not a Squire, it's a Fender. It's a Fender, not a Squire. That's why I can't find it. So we remove a Squire from the situation. Now let's see if the right series is there. Well, we have Deluxe, American Deluxe. It is a made in Mexico Deluxe, I am very sure. So there's a Deluxe. Let's see here. American Deluxe. Let's click that and see. There was only one listing. So I'm going to check that bass real quickly. I am very sure that it's a made in Mexico. Says serial number, doesn't say where. Hmm. Vendor website didn't list either. Does have Goto tuners. I find it interesting. Oh, it says it under the Fender name on the headstock. Fender made in Mexico. I was correct. I thought I had looked it up somewhere. Riveting content, I know. So maybe we get rid of the series since there's only one. There should be a filter for country of origin, model family series, location, country of origin. That's what we want. Mexico. Okay. Now, is there a series option? Just the one Fender Deluxe. So we know this one is a 2001. So hey, let's try it all the way filtered down to the 2000s. So we have Fender made in Mexico Jazz Bass 5 Standard. This one we know isn't active. So that's another filter we could throw in. Let's see here. Thought there was a thing on Electra Active. Only listing passive. How dare they? How dare you? Anyway, so if we remove the year, can we active preamp as an option? So we know there's an active preamp. So if we filter down to there, okay. So there we go. This is a 2024. It's a player plus, but we're looking 800-ish range there. So when we get rid of that active preamp, we start seeing, 3 knob instead of 4 knob with the stack. It's looking like even outside of that, $700 seems to be a good range. So again, you have all the information available. I used Fender's website to look up the serial number to find that June of 2001 was when the jazz bass was made. Um, the last thing we have here, again, we can filter it back down. I don't think that the year really matters. The active preamp is really getting me in that, like, this one's the cheapest one listed. Looks to be the same bass. Now, granted, this is again a 2024 player plus, so that's quite different in series. It's also different in the year, but I have a feeling if we filter it down further using that series, the deluxe is the only has the one, and this one isn't red, but that's the closest thing. So that one's $1,100, but maybe that's the coloration. Again, final thing, you always want to check on your sold listings. There should be way more than what's actively listed. So here we have a Fender Deluxe 2013 that's sold, candy apple red, sold for $485. We have a 98. That's a 4-string, so non-really comparable. 2005 Deluxe, it's not the same burst finish. So this is the same burst finish, but it's a 2007, sold for 650. Another one in 2025, which sold for 675. So I know some years are more desirable, but just in picture and what we can see, this one appears to be the closest to what we have. 5 string. Now, granted, this one even still had the stickers on it. It was sold as used. Excellent. I do love that Reverb will give a guide. So it's saying, hey, if you have one of these, 577 to 737. So even Reverb's like about 150 bucks worth of range. 577 is the low end. So at this point, he could be asking 600, and it should be pretty fair. Again, we can filter it down to try to get as absolutely close as possible with the year, decade, all that good stuff. Um, Decade is 2000s. That brings us down to said three. I must be really bad at counting because I see more than three. But 2007, 2009, 14, that's not it. Mid 2000s. Um, it seems that's a weird jazz bass, but hey, whatever. So still 600, 650, 700. Um, Quite a few sold prices in there. 650 seems to be a good sale price. Again, you want to check. It doesn't tell, at least no way I've ever seen, to see when it sold, but this one was listed 8 months ago. So it could have sold immediately. It could have just sold yesterday. Here's another one, same series, all that good stuff. Listed 10 months ago. So he could list his 600, should sell pretty well. Um, so again, those are options that you would have. I have one of mine that I'm going to sell, so we can look at that. All right, do the same thing with the filters, clear filters, get them all out. New and used, it is used. It is mint, excellent, and very good. I don't have anything really that I would sell that's beat up at all. Category is a bass. I know you're shocked. Go into the all filters. It is a 5 string, which knocks it down to 130. Is it still doing? It is still filtered. I said cleared all filters. Get rid of Fender because the brand is not going to be there. So we will have to search it. Hills, filter, bass, 5 string. Well, that narrowed it down pretty well. So we have brand new ones listed at brand new retail price, $849. Looks like a couple of gray, couple of the metallic rose. This one's listed as brand new. It's the black pick guard of the gunmetal variant. They have it over retail price. This one's mine. I list all my stuff as good because why not? Someone might see it. It's $100 cheaper, and you know all that. How did I come to that price? Well, since the Hills isn't a common instrument, which is where you can run into a lot of problems, if you go in and you look at sold listings, there was one. It was a gunmetal gray. I looked at it. Okay, sold for $600. Um, Said what it is, great condition, barely played, looking clear out studio. You can believe people on that or not. Listed 2 months ago, so sold pretty quickly. Items are almost entirely free of blemishes and other visual defects. Cool. They listed it, sold pretty quickly at 600. Um, I figure there aren't any used ones out there that people can buy. Like they don't seem like there are none listed on Reverb. Um, you can buy a brand new one at 850, or you can buy one from me. When I did the calculation, Reverb does the calculation. When they did it, I should get like 650 out of it. So I'm losing $200 plus whatever taxes going through the sale versus if I'd bought it at full retail. Some like these are harder because again, there's not that many. Like if I were to go on here and do my GOC, which I'm not selling, but it immediately sent it to electric guitar. Looks like there's a single GOC. Oh, we looked at that when Sono was on last week. So this is a prototype. So it's not the production model. And if we go to sold listings, there are two. So this is one of the Chinese New Year editions. They had, oh, what was it? One was like Eclipse, and there was a dark one and a light one. And then this one is a black one instead of like mine, which is orange. And they basically have it at retail. And that's not unheard of. Like, again, what I said for the GOCs, you can order them. Like, if we just go to their website, GOC guitars, you can order them. Is he holding? Okay, that's an instrument. I thought it was a vacuum for a minute. Really confused why there was a vacuum. Those are all guitars. Here's bass. So Chinese New Year Eclipse, Chinese New Year Luna. I really want this one. I love the look of that burl. I would trade them for my orange, but Swamp Ash Body Alert. Whoa. I don't know if mine's made of swamp ash. Probably not. But retail price $9.95. You can get the case if you want. So $9.95 for the instrument. So then you have the taxes, you have the shipping, all that fun. So this one's already in the US. It's $45 cheaper. There won't be any tariffs that you would have to pay. The shipping is going to be significantly less. I want to say GOC charges like 100 or 120. You can go to their website and check to make sure it hasn't changed, but they charge a flat rate for shipping. You are responsible if there are additional tariffs, but that whole situation keeps changing. So this is one somebody was able to buy. It was closer, was going to get there quicker. And as you might have noticed here, there are a lot that say, like in their all of these pre-order, 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 pre-order. None of the bases are available right now. They have two guitars available right now. Everything else is on pre-order. They make small batch, so you're not gonna get them soon. Hills, on the other hand, their stuff is available, so you'll be able to get it sooner. Um, I priced mine where it's enough of a savings that it's the same almost as if you bought a blemish from them. But mine isn't blemished. So that's where I put the price on it. But that is the set of steps I use. Again, find what you can on a serial number breakdown. If it's a common instrument like a Squire, a Fender, you can go in, get that information from the website like I did. I printed it out just so when I take it to the music shop, they will be able to just see it. There won't be any, okay, now we have to do some research. No, you don't. I already did the research. This is what it is. Now, they may want to look it up to confirm so that they know, yeah, what Travis said is correct. They should know better. But, some people like to question whether things are accurate, and that's fine. They can do that. But get your info. Once you have your info, use the most precise information you can to get the price. Again, we took the fender, we knew what year, we knew what series, we knew where it was made. All of those things helped us go from a price range and sold that started at $145. Now it starts at like the 6, 5, 6 range. So again, it could have been, you might get 400 for it, to, oh, hey, we figured all this out. Now we know you should be selling it for 6. Um, the music shop that I work with does 80% on consignment. So if they sell it for 6, you can do the math. He should get $480 out of it. He has to decide how much he's willing to take. And that's another thing. You can know all day, every day what your gear is currently worth. You have to decide if it's worth it that much or less than that to you. One thing I do love, and I should have left it up, but I've already closed out that screen, so I'll do it in the app anyway because the app's easy. On Reverb, if you go to your My Reverb, you can have, of course, your name, you can have your wallet, and you can have a collection. So if you click your collection, you can have like all of the things that you own listed in there, and it will keep a running tally based on what those things are currently going for. Um, so like mine lists 14 items. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's something missing. The guitar at church is there. I have a couple of things out in the other room. Um, so something's not on there, but it's good for a couple of reasons. One, super handy because then if time comes you want to sell something, you can literally just go into it, find the thing like I did with the hills. You click on the hills, you don't scroll, you click on it, and there's a button to sell. You can literally just say, hey, I want to sell this. And as long as you put all the information into it up front, you'll then be able to see that information on the backside in the event that you're selling it. Yup. I'm looking at the comments because they dropped off for some reason, and now it's showing me there was one from Collectrics or MK Electrics. Either way. Yup. Children. Lol. Yes. Yes, children. My son will answer the question for you when you ask him of what do we do when we're done with our stuff? And he'll tell you, we put it away. It's what we do. Um, but either way, on the Reverb collection, it is super handy for the fact that if you decide you want to sell it, you have that option. The other thing that, hopefully isn't needed, but is helpful is if you end up having like a house fire, you have a list of what you have with, easily verifiable pricings and value, where you would be able to say, hey, my entire collection of instruments, which I lost, that collection alone's worth $18,000. And then they can turn around and be like, oh, are you sure? Yeah, here, I've got the list. Here's all the information you'd need. Look it up. And then they can add that too. Um, knowing all the, like, if someone were to ask me on the street, at work, whatever, hey, what are all the bases that you have? I could probably eventually go through, like, let's see, I could tell them I have Eins, Strandberg, Dingwall, Albedo, mm, something above Albedo. Then there should be the Hills, Spectre, GOC, 1505 short scale, M6, 1505, standard multi-scale, bongo, the little Jackson, the Ibanez, and the other. What did I forget? Oh my gosh, I forgot Gorthauer. That's sad. It's my favorite one. Hello, Dino. Yo. Um, so again, going through that, I can name them. I would be able to name Gorthauer eventually because he's kind of the lock screen on my phone, so I'd remember him. But again, if you have a larger collection, like Bully, all the instruments that he has on the wall, could he go through and name every single one? Maybe. He has names for a lot of them. Um, but having a list to hand where, especially if you've had a house fire, something catastrophic, you're not going to be, sitting there in your normal right mind of, yes, let me just rattle all these things off. So it's another good thing to have that uh, in the places where you can access them. Um, so that's the other side. If you get something that you buy, I actually saw a thing from a Facebook group earlier. It said, "Why is it every time I buy a new bass, I end up seeing them on the used market for $200 cheaper?" And it made me think also, because I already knew I was going to do this tonight. I was like, that's actually really interesting because if you just bought something new, I don't know how much they're buying it for, but if you just bought something new and you're seeing used ones for sale for $200 cheaper, a lot, depending on what you bought. I mean, if you bought a $500 base and you're seeing them $200 cheaper, it's a huge percentage lost of investment. However, if you're buying a $2,000 base and you're seeing used ones for 200 cheaper, they're holding their value really well. So knowing the used market, whether you shop used a lot, um, you've got the people who like Sono Jono used to talk about the used stuff all the time. Johnny has done his live streams, Judge Johnny, where he does his of more as something a crime or not, but he will mention if something's a good deal. If it's a really good deal, he remembers to say it, and then he tries to message the people sometimes on the live stream. Um, all of these things break down to if you know the used market, you should know the value your stuff would have. I recommend checking the values every couple months just to confirm, because say you decide that one of the bases you have you don't want anymore. It's good to know how the market's been going, in things like a recession, in things with when the tariffs started. I mean, in the mid 2000s, uh 20, well, not 2000s, in the mid 20 early 2020s, like pandemic time, we had all these channels like Low End Lobster, Bully the Kid, all of these channels that were doing Harley Benton videos. And it was like, you can order this bass that's every bit as good as a 600, 500, $700 base. You can order it for 150 bucks. And when, they were first, you know, being the big thing, you could order 3 of them with the shipping cost the same as ordering 1. So you could spend $700 and get 3 good bases and then probably turn around and flip 2 of them and almost make your money back because someone else doesn't want to pay that $90 for shipping. Now, even tariffs aside, the shipping costs have gone way up. So, and of course, the prices on the instruments have gone up too. So now, if you wanted to order 3, you're probably $200 per base. And then you're probably 150, $200 for the shipping at least. So now, instead of being six, $700 all in, you might be eight, $900 on those 3. And then again, you can probably sell the Harley Bentons close to their retail price because no one's wanting to pay that shipping to get them here. But it is still that up in the air situation of, is this a good return on my investment? Do you need those 3 bases? I mean, again, if I had been involved in this reviewing YouTube bass situation, I would have been buying. I bought a lot of Harley Benton's. I actually was in the guitar side when I first found out about Harley Benton being good, and I would order, like, a bass and 2 guitars at the same time, so I could try the bass because I was still learning bass, and then I had 2 guitars, and that was cool, and then I could turn around and sell them, and for a hobby that costs as much money as this one does, I made out well on the Harley Bentons. I might have paid $150 to buy a Harley Benton guitar, and then I turned around and sold it for 120. Percentage wise, compared to what you can get into, especially if you're buying brand new, it wasn't bad. I mean, I was still losing money, but I was enjoying myself. And again, that goes back to one of the lessons that I've talked about on here, and I'm sure I'll talk about it again. There are plenty of times where, as long as the value is there, value is both quantifiable and qualitative. You can have a, hey, I bought this board for $20. Okay, cool. Can I sell that board for $20? No, not after you've bought it. It's a material. You're not getting that money back. But if, because this board, it's thin, it's already primed. This is a piece of trim. Has a little bit of paint, as you can see there in the corner. But it's already primed. It's a piece of trim, and if I need to use that as a piece of trim, I just clean that paint off there. That's what its value is. Its value is for what it's designed to do. Now, that's because it has a functional value, whereas instruments, they function, they do a thing. However, that value is very personal because, again, I have Gorthauer, custom bass, Lord of the Rings themed, pretty obviously Lord of the Rings, but some people don't know Lord of the Rings. Some people know Lord of the Rings as a passing, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's a book, and then there's movies, and they're really long. That's what I know. Some people may not recognize that as the Eye of Sauron. Some people may and just be like, not my thing. So the value I place on that particular instrument, probably nowhere near what anyone else would place on it. Now, you may have a huge Lord of the Rings fan who also happens to play bass, who loves 5 string, multi scale, and sees it. Is that person likely to have just stupid throwaway money where they're going to buy it off of me? Highly unlikely. So the value I place on that instrument, way more than what someone else might. If someone, if one of my friends, Dino, put in a comment, if Dino's still watching, if Dino had this bass and someone was like, hey, I'll give you $1,000 for that bass, Dino may be like, I have no emotional attachment to this thing. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan. Maybe he is. I don't know. But in this example, he's not. He may be like, he has a cool bass, but hey, $1,000, and then I could buy something else. Maybe completely fine. Um, it's all suspect. So having those values that are quantifiable, this thing on the market sells for this much. That's going to help you in the event you need to get rid of something. It's just like, if you ever go to a yard sale, garage sale, whatever you want to call it, you get people who want to get rid of their stuff. You have people who have stuff they wouldn't mind getting rid of. And then you have the people who really want their stuff, but they'll get rid of it for the right price. And you all know what I'm talking about. Because if you go to one person's yard sale, some people just put out a table. Anything on this table's $1. Anything on that table's $5. Anything on that table, make me an offer. And you walk up and you go, hey, uh, this is a Ninja food processor. Does it work? Yeah, it works. I'm not selling garbage. Okay, cool. Um, these go for like 50, $60 at least. I give you $10. And they're like, yeah, sure. Because they don't care. They're in that first camp. They have stuff they want to get rid of, and getting money is great. You have the other people. They have stuff they could get rid of. So you ask them about the Ninja blender and you go, "Hey, I know these normally go $60." So you go up to talk to the person, you ask the person, I don't see a sticker on the, oh, that's $30. Mm, wasn't really thinking $30. Could you do 10? No, it's $30. Like I know what I got. I know what I got. $30. It's half price. Yeah, but it's used food processing equipment. Like, I don't know how nice you've been to this. I don't know if you've thrown bricks in this thing. Like, I gave you 20. And the person goes, "Yeah, I'll do 20." That's a person who has a thing. They don't mind getting rid of it, but they're not just going to get it gone. They actually have some concerns about the thing. And then you have the people who, I don't want to get rid of any of my stuff, but if the right person comes along and you're asking them, "Hey, I see this Ninja food blender. Oh, that's $50." Oh, they they go for 60 new. Yeah, but it's basically new. Like, it's clean. I cleaned it out. Everything on it works. It's good. $50 saves you $10 plus tax. Yeah, no, I really no. Well, what were you thinking? Well, I was thinking like I give you $20. No, 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 no. I need at least 50. Okay. So these are the people, they don't want to get rid of their stuff. They're just hoping someone's basically going to give them enough that they can get a new one if they want one later. Same thing with instruments. You'll get people who, I have this Spectre brand new, they're $2,200. I got mine a lot less. You have some people who, I'm not getting rid of this thing unless I'll be able to buy another. That's Gorthauer. Like, the only way I would sell Gorthauer is if someone was giving me enough money, I'd be able to order another one because there's only one. That's the only one that exists like that. So if someone comes up and goes, "I'll give you $3,000 for that bass." Can I think about it for a day? No, answer right now. Okay, fine. 3 grand. Here you go. It's yours. Have a good one. And then I would get a hold of Karel and I'd be like, "Hey, so you remember that Lord of the Rings bass?" Uh-huh. Yeah, I want another one. Basically the same thing. Just, here's a couple of little changes. Couple. Put the glow in the dark pigment on the fretboard. Do that. Move this tiny little horn right here like 1 inch farther up so it fits my fat leg better. Done. Do the rest the same. Cool. There you go. Get rid of the sliders on the back. Don't need them. Or one slider, volume slider. Don't need the switch. Don't need the tone. Volume slider on the back. You can even get a smaller one. You can even just get a little knob, put it on the back, or just put an on off button. On, off. That's all I need. I don't need to control the volume. I have preamp that can control the volume. Just send a signal. That's all it needs to do. As a matter of fact, I can mute it or unmute it on the preamp. It doesn't need controls. Pickup's always on. Perfect. If I was getting enough to get another one, I'd get rid of him. That's it. This other stuff that I could just go buy another one, could order it from Sweetwater right now. Cool. But I'm not looking to sell these. The Hills, I just showed you. That one's listed $750. Someone sends me an offer, I might take less. If one of you goes on there right now, give you $700, sold right now, sell it for 700. I'd end up getting like 6 because of reverb and the fees and all that fun. I'm not planning on buying another one because I have another Hills coming back. That's why that one's for sale. I like what I have. I did the video just recently on re-reviewing all of these bases. Was there anything I would change? Why do I have it? What did I like it better about versus what did I like about it better than other stuff? All that fun. You can watch that video if you want to. I think it's like 20 minutes. So all of those things, knowing the value.
Amy's here.
Okay. That's my wife. Her name is Dot. She's waving. There you go. Normally she's in the comments. Um, so I am being informed that people are here. So you people of the internet aren't, I guess, as important. I don't know. You take that up with that lady in the pink shirt who just left. In all seriousness, though, main factors: figure out everything about your instrument. I'm going to recap what we talked about. Figure out everything about your instrument. Search platforms. Reverb's excellent because it lets you see used, lets you see sold listings. Check what's currently on the market, how much they're asking, because that's the first thing. What should you be looking for? Personal, if I sell something that has a bunch of other stuff, I see, is it similar condition? Because obviously, if there's like three of them that are broken and they're half the price of what the other used ones are, I'm going to go with what's the most similar. Go with what's the most similar, filter it all down. Then, what's the cheapest one? What's the middle range? If what you're selling, someone has one for 600, most of them are around 800 and they go as high as 1,000. How soon do you want to sell it? Because the person who's is at 600, if you join the 800 people, what sets you apart from the other ones that are 800? Personally, at that point, if mine's the same as basically all of them, one person's at 600, there's 12 people at 800, probably listing mine at 650, $700. That first person's will sell. And when someone goes, crap, I was going to buy that. And well, that one's close. It's almost the same price. Maybe I can haggle down. And then you go with that. So get all your information, find similar stuff that's for sale to know what to list it at, but double check the sold listings. Because if you find that everyone's at $800, all the ones that sold for around 600, you might as well list lower price and just be less flexible for haggling so you fit as the first one that the people see. Much better if you're the first, you're the cheapest. Yeah, they're going to still try to haggle. Everyone else is at 800. This person's at 600. Would you take five? How about 575? Cut you 25 bucks off. How about I don't charge you shipping? How about that? Whatever haggling you want to do. You do your own haggling or don't haggle. Just be like, no, that's the price. I'm cheaper by a lot than everybody. Third thing, keep those values. I love Reverb's collection list so that when the time comes you're ready to sell something or you need insurance questions answered, any of that, you already have that value saved up. And then finally, keep into account what those values on the dollar sign compare to the values that you have personally. Um, Again, I can say that Gorthauer is worth $3,000. I could tell insurance he's worth $3,000 because that's about the cost to replace it. That doesn't mean anyone in this world looking at it is going to give me 3,000 if I decided to sell it. Probably not. So that is the last thing to keep in mind. Um, we had quite a few people watching. It's been streaming right at an hour now. No one was able to join, so there you go. But time to sign off. So, as always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a day as awesome as you are.